Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me clearly?
Sure.
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Welcome CIRDAP webinar series of 2022. My name is Hurain Jannat. I'm working as a communication officer in CIRDAP. Before beginning our today's webinar, I would like to say a few words about our organization. CIRDAP is a regional intergovernmental and autonomous organization which was established in 1979, 6th July, with the initiative of this region, I mean Asia Pacific region countries, and also with the initiative of Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, and also with other UN bodies and donors. And you can see our 15 member states in this beautiful map. Bangladesh is the host country where the CIRDAP headquarters is situated. And we operate through the contact ministries and link institutions of our these 15 member countries. And you can see our beautiful headquarters, which is called Chamili House. It was built in British period in 1920. And later in 1987, our host country, Bangladesh government, handed over to CIRDAP. Now I would like to welcome our Honorable Director General, Dr. Charsak Birapat, to say a few words. Sir. Sir, are you with us? I think the Dr. Charsak Birapat, his link got cut. He will be joining later. Moving on. Hello. I think his internet.
You can carry on.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Sir, hello, sir. Can you say something on behalf of DG sir? Maybe DG sir.
I do hear you. There was stability.
Yes, okay. We will hear from our Director General later. Now, about our today's webinar. The webinar title is the Climate Smart Water Management in the Context of Pakistan. Actually, we are doing this recurring webinar series every month. We're trying to do every month the CIRDAPs, which are related to the integrated rural development. Now, about our honorable speaker, Dr. Manzoor Ahmad Malik, I would like to short description about him. Dr. Malik, he's basically from Pakistan. He graduated in 1985 in Agricultural Engineering University of Agriculture, Faisalabad, with distinction of 2 gold medals, and served as a lecturer in the same university for 2 years. Then on open merit scholarship of Pakistan, he went to University of Newcastle, UK, and he completed his MPhil leading to PhD in 1995. He won first prize for the best oral presentation during that time, and also best poster presentation. Versatile 34 years experience, starting from 2 years university lectureship, followed by 16 years in provincial water management, soil and water resource development, and finally 16 years in Pakistan Council of Research in Water Resources. Dr. Malik retired in 2020. As a team leader, he completed several projects regarding water resources development, management, conservation in diverse agroecological zones in rugged and remote areas. So to know more about him, you can visit our website, experts.cirdap.org. You can get his field of interest, his articles, research project, everything over there. Now, some quick few points. We would like to know where you are joining from. Please do let us know in our chat box your name, designation, organization, and you must have some questions, suggestions, and opinions. You can drop that in our chat box, and also you can ask directly to our speaker after finishing his presentation. And there's a humble request to all of you, kindly mute your microphone. You can follow us, CIRDAP, in our LinkedIn, in our Facebook, in our Twitter, and you can also visit our website, www.cirdap.org. Thank you so much. Our Director General, again, linked with us. Sir, would you like to say something?
Yes, good morning, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. My internet was disconnected. I don't know what happened, but please note that in Bangladesh, the internet, please bear with us. Good morning. First, I would like to welcome each of you to the CIRDAP webinar series. We start this webinar series since 2021, and this is the second year. So I would like to sincerely thank Dr. Manzoor Ahmad Malik for your kind acceptance to speak on today very important subject on the climate smart water management in the context of Pakistan. And as you know that the demand for water worldwide has grown twice as fast as the human population in the last 100 years. And the water management plays its critical role adaptation and mitigation to climate change. And as you know, the irrigation system of Pakistan is considered one of the largest network in the world, serving 14.4 million hectares. Pakistan economy, and the irrigation system is a key, and in many cases, the source of food production. So it will be very interesting to hear from our speaker today. So I would like to speak shortly and would like to back to you, Huren, please.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I welcome Dr. Manzoor Ahmad Malik to give his presentation.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shidfaq Virapat, Dr. Hilal, and all the participants. Very good morning. Assalamu alaikum. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Dear participants, the topic of my presentation, you can see, is climate smart water management in context of Pakistan. Before moving ahead on this topic, I would like to I would like to explain the few keywords included in the topic. Water management. What is water management? Effective best practices for qualitative and quantitative planning, development, distribution, and consumption. It is water conservation or reducing usage through existing, improved, and or innovative equipment and practices. Whereas weather and climate, which are very important nowadays due to climate change, weather is short-term atmospheric condition, whereas climate is the long-term pattern over region. When we say smart management, and I would like to say what are the smart interventions the smart interventions are those which are simple, affordable, replicable, socially acceptable, environmentally friendly, and financially viable. Climate smart agriculture is sustainable increase in productivity with climate resilience and a reduction in greenhouse gases. Before moving forward, I will give some brief about the demography, climate, and climate change situation of my country. Pakistan is the fifth populous country and 33rd country by area. Its population in 2017 was 208 million, which by 2025 will be 25 million. Its literacy rate is 63, of which male literacy rate is about 73%. Population density is 261 per square kilometer, and growth rate of the population is 2.4. Rural population is 64%, and low middle income poverty rate is 40%. We have a very diverse climate and landscape. 5 diverse climate zones from dry hard in the south. It is dry hard in the south and becoming progressively cooler in the northern region, northern uplands. Annual rainfall is less than 250 millimeter in 75% area, and in the Himalayan piedmonts, it is about 760 to 2000 millimeter. Maximum monthly temperature varies from 42 to 44 in the lower plain and 23 to 49 in the upper plain. Temperature rise due to climate change averagely is 0.47, and daily maximum rise is 0.87, and it is almost above the global climate change pattern. Precipitation increase since 1955 to 2007 is 35 millimeter, and projected rate of warming considered considerably above the global average, with potential rise of 1.3 to 4.9 under different scenarios of contribution of greenhouse gases. We are not yet, we have world's largest reserves of glaciers and frozen water resources out of the polar region, but not yet clear what is the pattern of their melting. Some studies have shown that in the Karakoram region, they are accumulating, in other parts they are depleting. The climate change implications on my country are very severe. Pakistan is among the 36 water scarce country and will become 20th by 2050. And world average flood events increased from 127 to 171 over the period of 2005 to 2015. Heat wave increased by more than 31 days during the last 3 decades. Temperature increase is likely to be higher than the global average, resulting in reduced agricultural productivity. Temperature rise and shortened growing season will adversely affect the yields of agriculture and livestock productivity. It has been estimated that a 1 degree Celsius increase in average temperature may reduce wheat yield by 7.4%. Everybody might have heard the recent flood event in Pakistan, which affected 33 million, 208, and this rainfall season was 515% more in the Sindh than the normal rainfall over there, and in Balochistan it was 4. The very interesting point here is that here one can see the rain pattern of Pakistan. Lower one, these are the dry regions, and this green part is the region where normally high rainfall occurs. But due to climate change, under the climate change, it was expected, or it is a normal notion that the wet region will become more wet and the dry region will become more dry. But it happened adversely during this monsoon season. The expected or forecasted increase in the rainfall was about 40% by the relevant department. But this increase, I have mentioned and can be seen on the screen, was more than 400 to 500%. And incidentally, it happened in those regions of the Pakistan which are otherwise dry. For example, this is Sindh, and here you can see these areas here, they are dry regions, and all these are adversely affected by these flood events. The huge damages occurred due to the reason that in Balochistan is mountainous area and plateau adjoining the lower Indus plain, where flash flood occur if the rainfall is more than the normal rainfall, and that caused huge damages. But in Sindh is very dry region where natural topography is very flat, and normally such high rain is not expected. Therefore, the drainage pattern, the natural drainage pattern does not exist. And in the infrastructure development, these aspects were very often ignored due to the low rainfall over there. Therefore, whatever rainfall fell over there, that remained stagnant without any drainage pattern, and that caused huge loss over there. And the water is still not draining out of that area. So that caused huge loss over there. And the estimated loss, overall loss with this flood event was more than $30 billion. Now I will give some overview of the water resources of Pakistan. As Dr. Veerapat mentioned, Pakistan maintains the world's largest contiguous irrigation system, comprising 3 major reservoirs having the live capacity of 18.6 million acre feet. Number of barrages are 20, and we maintain 45 canals for this irrigation network, which cover the area of 17 million hectares. And the length of these canals is about 61,000 kilometers. Number of water courses, we have a huge number of water courses that goes over 100,000 numbers, which have a length of 1.36 million kilometers. And number of tube-wells, which some 50-60 years before were only thousands, now have gone over 1.3 million. Our land resources, altogether, the geographical area of the country is 80 million hectares, of which cultivable is 32 million hectares. But we are cultivating only 22 million hectares because of the water scarcity. 22 million hectares, the 18 million hectares being irrigated either through canals or conjectively with the tube wells, whereas 4 million hectares is rain-fed area. Still, we have 10 million hectares of land which is cultivable, but we cannot bring under cultivation due to shortage of water. Our water resources, from Indus is our main source of water. Its annual flow is 138 million acre feet. We add about 55 million acre feet of groundwater to that, and that to meet our requirement. But now we have exhausted the groundwater potential, and we are at the verge of rather going towards groundwater mining. Per capita water availability, which was 5,600 cubic meter at the time of a partition, but now we have gone below 1,000, which is called water scarce country, because according to the Falcon Mark index, we have gone below 1,000
Excuse me,
cubic meter per capita.
Malik, can you please make it full view, like in the slide, so that we can see? Yeah. Slide show, yeah.
So now we entered into the category of water scarce countries. So what are the water management issues? Our water management issues can be summarized that we have shortage of water, we have inadequate storage facility, sedimentation rate of the existing reservoir is going at the rate of 0.2 million acre feet per year. So our reservoirs are losing their capacity, and the irrigation system, which is the biggest one in the world, but its efficiency is very low, that is less than 40%. Whatever the water we divert from the river, almost 60% of that is lost during the conveyance or while applying to the field, and only 40% of that is available to the plants. Productivity, our productivity also low in the region or in the world as well. For instance, our rice productivity is 50% below the average of Asia, whereas wheat productivity, water productivity of wheat is about 24% less than the average productivity in the world, that is 1 kilogram per cubic meter. Whereas water requirement is increasing day by day due to population increase, urbanization, and industrial growth. And this scarcity of water is causing unequal distribution of the available water. To meet our demand, we are extensively pumping groundwater, and luckily we have a good groundwater aquifer, especially in the upper Indus region. But we are now suffering groundwater mining because our demand is increasing very rapidly. This is the scenario of supply, demand, and population growth. Here, in the 1963, we built some dams, and we brought here to about 106 million acre feet surface water. But at that time, the three eastern rivers which came under the share of Indian partners, spill the water over there has been managed, and so that is decreasing now, and we have now about 98 million acre feet of surface water, to which we, as I mentioned before, we are adding about 55 million acre feet from groundwater. So population is rapidly growing, and per capita availability is rapidly decreasing. Now we have, by 2025, we will be almost touching the absolute water scarcity. So that is a very alarming situation. We have to take very intensive management measures to address the issue of water scarcity. What we are doing to overcome the water scarcity? First of all, the first issue I mentioned was shortage of surface storage. We have several projects for enhancing the surface storage capacity. And first phase was from 2001 to 6, and second then to 6 to 11 and onward, where this is the detail of several interventions regarding groundwater storage. Regarding large dams, we have built added a capacity of 12.34 BCM, and through small dams we are going to add 2.5 million acre feet. And this extra water which we are developing through large and small dams, we are endeavoring to divert into the deprived area through several canals such as Kachi Canal, Bareni Canal, and Greater Thal Canal. These will irrigate those areas where the otherwise irrigation surface water was not available, and the cultivable land is still over there. To address the issue of poor efficiency of the system, we identified the losses in different sections of our irrigation system, and we identified that the major losses are in the water courses and the field. In the water courses, the losses they were originally 40%, and at the field level they were about 29-30%. So we plan to address these two components because they are the major portions where the water is lost from our system, for improving the efficiency and for improving the productivity. So we have a huge program of national program of water courses improvement. We run its two phases. In the first phase, we lined our conveyance system, almost 20 to 30% of our conveyance system. We lined it and reduced the water losses from 40 to 30%. That is a 10% improvement in the water saving. And This resulted in the convention given at 10% and cropping intensity was improved by 20%, and also added to the yield per acre that improved by 15%, and on the average our yield improved by 11 to 20%. So on the similar lines, we have several other mega projects, the detail of which I time shortage, I am not going to share that detail, but we have National Program for Improvement of Water Courses, and that is the second phase of the similar project, and the National Program for Enhancing Profitability through increasing productivity of wheat. And similarly, National Program for Enhancing Profitability through increasing productivity of rice, and then for oilseed enhancement program, and National Program for Enhancing Profitability through increasing productivity of sugarcane. These are the major crops for which we have mega scale projects and interventions. Through these interventions, we are providing both physical support, subsidies, mechanical infrastructure, and machinery to facilitate the farmers for getting best out of the available water. And we are demonstrating the best practices and building the capacity at all levels for increasing and enhancing the productivity of water. For instance, recently I have joined this project as project manager, and this is a project for on the similar pattern to the project for Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province, and where we are improving now 15,000 of water courses and bringing area under high efficiency irrigation system at by 5,000 hectares. Farm level water storage tank. We are building farm level water storage tank to convert our irrigation system from supply driven to demand driven, and at the same time, at the reducing the losses at the field level, we have a huge program for providing laser land levelers to the farmers and to the service providers, so that they can give it at subsidized rate and for extensive use at the farm level, because it is proven intervention that increase the irrigation efficiency, productivity, and all the allied factors, parameters. Northern area is a vital part of our watershed, because as I mentioned before, the storage capacity of our water reservoirs is reducing at the rate of 0.2 million acre feet per annum. So watershed management is a very vital component of water management, and watershed management is not merely growing trees or increasing the vegetative cover, but it is to address the social and economic problems of the watershed area, so that the factors which compel them to remove the vegetative cover and cut the trees may be addressed. In northern areas, the major issue is the economic water scarcity, because all our water is coming from there, but that is too deep, and the local people are unable to exploit that water for bringing and to bring it there in their own use. We have very small interventions on the pilot scale over there. We have introduced over there solar-powered river pumping and hydro ramp pumps. These are the climate-smart interventions, because the solar power don't generate greenhouse gases, and similarly, hydro ramp pump. Some people might be aware, but that is run by the hydel energy of the waterfalls. Through these interventions, we are providing water facility for irrigation and household usage to thousands of the households, and bringing several thousand hectares of land under cultivation. And we are planning to upscale this intervention in northern areas. Yes. Regarding yield and productivity at the farm level, here is the data given on the average productivity, and we can see that our average productivity of major crops is almost 1.5 to 1/3 of the potential yields available around the world. But when we see our progressive farmers, we see that our progressive farmers are producing, are getting the yield almost at par with the developed countries. That means if we address the issues and problems of our farming community, and we can make them to produce more from the same water and land resources. For that purpose, we have several interventions. For instance, proliferation or upscaling of high efficiency irrigation system and bed and furrow irrigation system, zero tillage, laser land labeling, as I mentioned before, and irrigation scheduling or irrigation advisory services. This high efficiency irrigation we started some 2-3 decades before, but that was not getting the attention of farmer. We are now provided subsidy on that, and we have in the second phase of the national program. Sorry, the interruption due to sound. Some participant. I will request to mute their microphone. So now they due to provision of this subsidy and coupling it with the solar energy generation, we are able to introduce that technology on several thousand hectares of land in different parts of the country. And similar program recently, now we have launched in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and other parts of the country as well. By that program, we are expecting to have the irrigation efficiency around 80 to 90%, and the water so saved can be used for bringing the land which otherwise is uncultivated, but still it is cultivatable, but remains uncultivated due to water. Similarly, bed and furrow. Bed and furrow is also promising technology for field level, reducing field level losses. We have estimated that area under different crops, major crops, is, for instance, for wheat it is 8.41 million hectare, and if we introduced or use the bed and furrow system of irrigation, average yield will be increased by 17%, and average water saving will be 46%. And that water saved can be used to bring another area of 3.83 million hectares under cultivation. So we are focusing on, through different interventions, we are focusing on proliferation and upscaling of the bed and furrow system of irrigation. And rice is one of our major crop, and we grow rice on 5.2 million acres. And we have carried out successful experiments, as can be seen from these snaps, that we have carried out successful experimentation for growing rice on bed and furrow, and we have endeavored to break the myth that white rice cannot be grown without standing water. Through these successful experimentation, we have estimated that if we bring the entire land under rice to bed and furrow system, we can save 8 million acre feet of water. That is almost equal to the capacity of one of our major reservoirs. And this system is being now introduced at a larger scale through these agricultural extension services. Then zero tillage is another promising technology through which we can save field application losses. On the rice fields, rice and wheat cropping pattern we have in major part of the country. And when rice is harvested, very limited time is left for sowing the wheat, and very often it is delayed. That results in loss of productivity, loss of yield, and things like that. If we have now direct zero tilling drills we have provided to the farmer. So after harvesting the rice, they directly sow the wheat, and then it is directly sown. It is sown well in time because time is saved by avoiding the soaking irrigation. So in that way, we not only save one soaking irrigation, but also save energy and emission of greenhouse gases, and that the sowing is carried out, since by that technique the sowing is carried out well in time, so it increased the yield of the wheat crop as well. So this so far we have adopted it almost more than 200,000 acres of land, and that way huge amount of water is being saved. Laser technology is another technology which initially was reluctant to adopt, but now during the season of harvesting, very often there is a heavy load on the available laser land facilities. This is through this technology, the huge amount of water. Irrigation time is saved. Irrigated area is increased, crop yields are increased, farm cultivable wasteland is increased, and the project that we have joined, especially in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, we are providing more than 500 laser land units at a subsidy. Half of the money is being provided by the government, and we are getting agreement with the service provider to provide it to the farmer at subsidy rate, and more than that number of laser land laboratories we have provided in the Punjab province, and now this being adopted at large scale, that results in a huge amount of water saving and productivity and allied parameters. One of the innovative technique of irrigation scheduling we have introduced is advisory services for the farmers when to irrigate and how much to irrigate through the cell phone messages. This technology we have adopted from the University of Washington. My friend, Professor Faisal Hussain from Bangladesh, he is professor in Washington University. And with his collaboration, we introduced this in Pakistan. Initially, we were using their server, but now we have developed own. And in this service, we provide the message to the farmers whether or not they are required to irrigate their land, or if they are required to irrigate their land, how much they are supposed to apply, or if there is rainfall occurring, whether or not they should apply water to their field. Initially, our subscribers were about 700, but now it is more than the subscribers are more than 40,000. This is the system of our message conveying to the farmers. We fetch the data from NASA, and that comes to our servers, where we have with the Washington University collaboration, we have developed software which incorporate the local global precipitation prediction together with the local precipitation prediction and climatic parameters, and convert it to a potential of evapotranspiration. And then we have set up our lysimeters all over the country. That by that we have generated crop coefficient parameters, and incorporating all these data, we develop a message of how much water was consumed during the last week, and this message we convey in the local language. The local language of Urdu. This convey the message to the subscribed farmers, whether or how much water was used by their crop in that area, and what is the expected rainfall in that area. And so in this way, they are in a better position to decide whether or not they are supposed to apply water to their field or not. And this service has highly been recognized by the concerned stakeholders all over the world. For instance, these are the coverage links where this intervention was covered in America and other developed countries. That Pakistan has gone a step ahead by adopting in using the NASA data for irrigation scheduling and helping the farming community to decide when to irrigate and how much to irrigate. The other gadgets which we are using at farm level are tensiometer and wetting front detector and chameleon. This tensiometer can be installed at the different depths of the root zone, and it indicates whether the water moisture level in the soil has reached to the point where they need to irrigate. Similarly, when they irrigate the field, farmers very often don't know when to stop the irrigation. So these are the wetting front detectors. They are installed in the field, and they indicate whether the root zone has got the required moisture level. And when they get the indication that the root zone have been wetted to the required extent, they can stop the irrigating their field, and this way a proper amount, the right amount, without wasting of leaching is attained. Similarly, chameleon, this is a bit advanced, but it also gives the profile of the entire root zone, where the root zone is in water in stress and where it is in excess of water, and that way the farmers can decide for precise irrigation if they have the stress in the root zone. Another technology to escalate the land use and intensity, that is this micro catchments. Up in the slopelands, we make this technology we adopted from Lebanon, and on slopelands we develop in this eyebrow type catchments which collect water from the upslope, and that water is stored in the vicinity of the plant and remain available for several days, which otherwise would have drained down. And in that way, the slope lands which otherwise were barren are being brought under cultivation, especially under the orchards. Groundwater management. Groundwater, as I mentioned before, almost half of the water available at the farm gate becomes available from our groundwater. And our groundwater potential is about 55 to 60 million acre feet. And almost all of that we are pumping. And very often there are some areas where there is a lot of uncertainty whether or not the groundwater is available or not. And the farmers, they carry out very costly and expensive drilling, but then they come to know that either the groundwater was not available, or if available, it was not of that quality which could be brought under usage. We have carried a function. This is the map of one of the Doabs or Thal Desert, where we have carried out resistivity survey and carried out its extensive mapping. And we have explored over there that 6 BCM of fresh water is still available, which can be exploited, and that will be enough to bring about 1.34 million hectares of additional land. Similar groundwater mapping for different depths of the aquifer has been carried out in the upper Indus Plain as well as in the lower Indus Plain, and these are the maps of this map is from 0 to 50 and 51 to 100, and similarly these are for the lower Indus Plain. These facilitate the farmers to decide whether or not they have to install the well over there, and if they have to install, where to install, and what will be the quality of water over there. For further details, we facilitate them to have the survey of the point area where the well is going to be installed, and for that purpose we are providing the facility of the resistivity survey and other similar equipment to carry out a survey at a very subsidized rate, affordable to the farmers. This is groundwater management through satellite survey. NASA launched in about 2004 a satellite called Gravity Recovery and Climate Change Experiment. This satellite measures the gravity of the Earth and anomaly in the gravity of the Earth and convert into whether or not there is a groundwater depleting or accumulating. And we have adopted that technology, and we have trained our researchers to utilize its data funds. And this is the map of 2017, and this is the 2018. And anomaly between the two maps will give us the indication where the water is depleting and where the water is accumulating. And that way we can better we are in a better position to manage our groundwater resources. With the similar technology, from that data, it has been identified that a crater of groundwater mining is developing at the international border between Pakistan and our neighbor India. And now we have a network of piezometers installed in the vicinity of that crater to monitor the behavior of groundwater and its implications, so the issue can be addressed well in time whenever it arises. But so far, there are no any adverse implication, but the crater is developing over there. As I mentioned before, we have huge stress on groundwater. The groundwater potential that is about 55 million acre feet. We have exhausted that, and groundwater mining is going on over there. For instance, like Delhi, in Islamabad, we are also facing domestic water scarcity, and groundwater mining is going at 1 to 2 meters per annum. And similarly, in Lahore, is it going more than that? And in Quetta, it is Balochistan, it is going at more than 5 meters per annum. In Islamabad, to address the issue of groundwater mining, we have intervention of groundwater recharge. For this purpose, we have through GIS survey, we have identified some depressions where the groundwater is collected, and that collected water is diverted towards self-constructed sand filters. The water filtered from through the sand filter is then diverted towards the inverted well for our groundwater recharge, and that groundwater recharge we properly measure. And we, over the last season, from a single groundwater recharge well, we estimated 20 million gallons of groundwater recharge from the single well. So we have 100 of these inverted wells, and in that way we have about 20 million gallons recharge into the groundwater, and that can meet several days requirement. This is just I will just of that. This is the video of the water that is being collected from the depression, then filtered through the sand filter, and then it goes to the inverted well, where it gets recharged into the groundwater, and it is properly measured. You will see there will be flow meter installed over there, like this. Similarly, groundwater mining is also a major issue in Balochistan. Balochistan's dependence is mostly on the groundwater. And there we have a system of carrages. Carrages are self-made springs and they are working since last several centuries, but due to groundwater, in fact, these carriages, they collect the groundwater and bring it downstream to the daylight, where it is used both for drinking and agriculture purpose. But due to groundwater mining, those carriages were drying up. And to recharge their, recharging zones, the government of Balochistan carried out intervention of delay action dam, but they proved ineffective because on the upstream side of these delay action dams, the fine sediments seal the bed and don't let the water percolate into the ground. What we have done that we have converted these delay action dam into leaky dams by inserting pipes in their retaining wall, and thus the water is let slowly go down, leak down to the downstream side, where the bed is still porous, and this water infiltrate into the ground and recharge the groundwater. And our experimentation has shown that by that way, in the vicinity of such delay action dam, we were able to rehabilitate several carriages, improved the discharge of several carriages, and reduce the pumping cost because the water table rise up, and improved yield of the dug wells as well. This technology now has been adopted by the Balochistan government, and they have constructed several of such dams for facilitation of the for recharge of carriages and for facilitation of the farmers who are using the water of those carriages. Rangeland. We are agriculture country, and about 20% of our GDP comes from agriculture, but this fact is very often ignored, that half of that comes from livestock. So livestock is a very, very important component of our GDP and agriculture sector. We have about 10-11% of deserts, which are grazing lands for these livestock, and they are very severely affected due to droughts, flood, temperature rise, loss of productivity occurs, and quality epidemics, and the quality of water is also compromised. For instance, Thal is one of our Cholastan is one of our biggest desert. In that desert, there were some natural ponds where the rainwater accumulated, but the capacity of those ponds were very, very small. What we have done, we have converted into some unscientific lines into the rainwater harvesting ponds. So each this is the shape and form of the natural toba which people were using. We converted into this type of pond, and this pond is 20 feet deep, and have the dimensions of 200 feet by 200 feet, and it can store 5 million gallon capacity of water. The people, about 2 million cattle head are over there in the desert, but the people over there were compelled to move to other places during the May and June season due to shortage of water. After this intervention, now the water remain available to the local community for their cattle and for their domestic needs, and they stay over there even in the hottest and dry months. A part of that water we divert to the these are the sand filters. We divert to the sand filters. Drinking water is seldom available over in that desert. We divert into the sand filter, and that filtered water is then provided through the hand pumps to the local community, and in that way we have reduced almost minimized the migration of the desert community over the dry season, and their productivity and health and yield, everyone has increased. Measurement and management. It is rightly said that measurement is prerequisite for management. For that purpose, we have carried out a large-scale intervention in the upper Indus Plain and Pothohar region for measuring the physical and hydraulic properties of the soil. These properties are of prime importance for irrigation scheduling, for rainfall runoff studies, for water retention and pedo transfer functions and small scale modeling as well. I was myself, project director of this project. This is the map of soil classes in the Potohar region, and we have duly mapped it up to the depth of 1 meter, 3 layers, top, middle layer, and bottom layer to the up to the root zone. Similarly, we have measured these properties in the upper Indus plain, that is comprising of Doabas in Punjab, within the regions of Indus tributaries, and all the soil types identified and duly mapped for the facilitation of the farmers, the scientists, planners, and other communities or stakeholders. Infiltration rate is also one of the property that is very important for this irrigation, high efficiency irrigation, and for modeling studies, and it also gives the proxy value of a saturated hydraulic conductivity. And we have measured all these parameters in this Potohar region, and similarly in the upper Indus plain. And at the same time, we have measured this soil moisture characteristic curves. Let me share at this point that Indian author Mr. Gupta in his recent paper has reported that he explored about 136,000 soil data around the globe, and he was in search of having soil moisture characteristic curves of the soils around the globe. And out of 136,000 soils data, he found soil moisture characteristic curves of bare minimum quality, that is covering from the wet end to the dry end, pertaining to the almost 11,000 soils. From here, you can to measure the soil hydraulic properties. It is 3 weeks. It takes 3 to 4 weeks time. And by the grace of Almighty Allah, I have carried out extensive measurement of these hydraulic properties in the upper Indus plain. And so far, my generated data of 600 soils is available, and that has through UNESCO we have reported it to the world soil data. Similarly, this is the mapping of organic matter in the Potohar region, and all this data is available in my reports at the forum of the PCRWR. In the measurement of river discharge and canal, as I mentioned before, and Dr. Virappat also said that we maintain the largest contiguous irrigation system in the world. In 1992, we have an agreement, inter-provincial agreement for distribution of water. That was very useful, and all the stakeholders very amicably agreed with that. But the problem was that how to properly measure and report the data. On pilot scale, we have installed Indus telemetry system. By this system, at the point of gauges or where the rating curve is available, we install a sensor that measures the gauge height and then convert it into discharge data by using the rating curve available over there. And this data is then conveyed through GPRS to the screen available at the premises of the stakeholder, ministries, the irrigation department, irrigation extension services, and the Indus River System Authorities site. And everyone who like to have this screen installed at their premises can get that data routinely. Well, there's a real-time data that becomes available to that has fetched the confidence of the stakeholders regarding the distribution of water resources of the river Indus. But the problems then again was our rating curves were old and they are required to update. You know, the rating curve updation is a very tedious job and it takes several months and hours of daily measurements. I can say that I am pioneer of using the technology of acoustic Doppler current profiler in Pakistan. And with this profiler ADCP, I have measured the discharge of all the rivers at 50 river sections together with the profile of the rivers and real plus velocity distribution at those sections. And I have also imparted training to more than 200 irrigation engineers all over the country for uses of technology. And now all the provincial governments have purchased that equipment for their usage, and we are now planning upgrade our rating curves so that the real time and updated based on the updated rating curves data could be shared with the stakeholder to fetch their confidence regarding the distribution of water. These are some of the profile sections which I have measured on these river sections just for the just sharing for your information. Similarly, regarding the active flood plains, I have extensively measured soil hydraulic and physical properties and duly mapped them so that the flood forecasting models could be upgraded and updated using the latest data. And I feel privileged that NASA has adopted and got my data to calibrate and validate their own model for the river Indus. This is great achievement regarding the flood forecasting and our own system. That is, we have now upgraded the system of flood forecasting from the older one to the integrated flood analysis system that is also using this data for flood forecasting. Then there is capacity building aspect. Capacity building aspect is very, very important. This is the institute we have established at CIRDAP, and it has the facility of all the aspect for imparting training on all the aspects of groundwater, all the aspects of water quality and quantity management. And at this institute, experienced faculty is available, equipment is available, and now under the Prime Minister program of development of youth development program, we are imparting training at nominal charges that we provide we provide the stipend to the trainees, and those trainees might be the young professionals or farming community, or they might be the serving professionals. And that is working in collaboration with the technical vocational institutes are expanded all over the country, and so that the capacity from right from the low stakeholder to the highly technical professionals may be enhanced. Then at the policy front, we have different policies introduced to address the issues of water problem. That is, for instance, National Environmental Policy in 2005 and the National Sanitation Policy that was approved in 2006. Drinking water policy was approved in 2009, and climate change policy 2012. And now recently we have approved our national water policy, wherein the Sustainable Development Goals have also been adopted and their targets being duly reported. What is the status of those achievement of the targets? We are also taking up ecological measures for this climate change to mitigate the implications of climate change. We launch an annual program of about 100 million tree saplings during spring and monsoon season, distribute almost freely to the farmers and other users, other interested people for plantation campaign. And we have also a world record of more than 500,000 saplings in a day in 2009. And KP government in recent, the last 5 years, they launched a program of 1 billion trees in KP, and that is that was a huge program of its type that has been highly appreciated around the globe. And now, in continuation of the same program, we have launched a 10 billion tree program into 2019, and that is in progress. And we are putting the best results out of that. But we are not still, stuck on these interventions. We are endeavoring to upscale and for escalation of all these interventions. And the way forward for that is that we want to declare water as economic good for all the users, small and large dams for enhancing the storage capacity and managing flood water by surface storage for recharge domestic through the intervention which I have just shown you. And some new research is also going on different aspects, and we intend to find new irrigation scheduling, IT and space technology based water accounting and management. That is very important because now in the single roof you can monitor everything by use of that technology. Rainwater harvesting at farm and household level is also our, and at for instance in Islamabad we have developed the code for new large buildings to have a component of rainwater harvesting and groundwater recharge as well. Groundwater regulation and extensive groundwater recharge, the provincial government under the national water policy, they are carrying out legislation, and some of them have completed for better the management of groundwater. And with the climate change, we also need to redefine the crop phenology, reckoning impact of climate change, and cropping quota for water intensive crops are also required to be fixed for having a check on virtual water, whether because in the coming days water will not be accounted merely in terms of dollars, but in terms of virtual water, which country is exporting, whether it is its import and export or a water deficit or a water credit. So that is also very important. And the capacity building at all levels, we are carrying on and we are upscaling it. Thank you very much for having me and for listening me and spending time for me. So your questions are welcome.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Malik. This is a very comprehensive presentation, and we have about half an hour for Q&A. So okay. We have 23 participants. So anyone would like to ask the question directly to him, please, you are welcome.
Yes, welcome.
If not yet, I will ask you.
Sure.
Yes, I can notice that, and I have some background knowledge of Pakistan also. I know
Sure.
that Pakistan is one of the best irrigation system and biggest network in the world. And but you have also geographical location that also have certain difference. For example, in the north, you have a lot of rain, and in the south you don't have so much rain. So in the north you always have flood, and in the south you always have drought. And also you mentioned about disaster and also water allocation. I'd like to look at the institutional arrangement, how your country arrange for management of water, and how are they looking at these different aspects like water resource allocation, flood and drought, early warning, preparedness, response, and how are they going to deal with these large issues of water? You also have, apart from water quantity, you have also water quality issue, the pollution and drinking water, contamination and others. So there's quite a number of issues to be addressed, and how the government arrange the institutional arrangement that will be deal with this water management. So please.
Thank you very much for having a very, very important, very, very interesting question. In fact, I skipped some of the slides due to time shortage. First of all, that's a very good question, institutional arrangement. First of all, we have upgraded, I mentioned, we have upgraded our flood forecasting system from the existing old system to the new integrated flood analysis system with the support of Japanese government. And still, the problem in we are not exactly in tropical region, but we have the climate of almost tropical nature, and it is very, very difficult to have a true prediction of flood. Because, for instance, this season there was a prediction of 40%, but that went beyond well over that. So we have a regular Met department for that purpose. And but still, you can say the climate, like you said, that in the lower plain that is dry and the upper is wet. But the flood came this time in the dry region instead of the wet region. That was the anomaly which was not expected. Regarding the water distribution, we have Indus River System Authority. The Indus River System Authority, in that authority, one member from each province is a member, and this its chairmanship is rotated between the provinces, and then there is a federal representative over there. And under the 1992 accord, we have duly distributed water to each province. For instance, about 56 million acre feet for Punjab and 48 for this Sindh, and 7-8 is for KP and 4. But and how that is distributed? This is the annual distribution. But how this is distributed on the monthly basis? The Indus River System Authority, they get indent from the provincial irrigation departments. They provide their demand about 15 days to 1 month before the distribution is made, and then keeping in view the available water and indents and the entire quota, the Indus River System Authority, which is represented from all over the provinces, they distribute the water. In fact, we have a distribution of allocated in about 110 million acre feet, but we hardly touch that target because that much water is seldom becomes available. We are planning and interventions I have shown to enhance it to the our targeted quota of target allocation of 110. And we have raised the Mangala Dam for that purpose and other interventions for to meet that quota. And if the water is in excess of the distributed water, that is then distributed proportionately as per agreed upon the quota. Regarding the water quality, I was interested to put some slides about that, but we have a regular network of monitoring the water quality in Pakistan, and not only the drinking water quality. The drinking water quality reports are published every year by my parent organization, and the major contaminants are biological distribution. Biological contamination is about 60-70%, and the other major contaminants are nitrate, arsenic, and fluoride. We have developed several technologies for addressing these issues at small scale level. And in the larger cities, we have network of water filtration plants. They provide filtered water, and on the community based, they are scattered in the cities, and the community fetch their drinking water from those plants. And in the areas like in Sindh, where the water is highly brackish, we have reverse osmosis system. For instance, in Thar Desert, we have about 600 to 700 reverse osmosis in filtration plants, and PCRWR have been given the mandate to regularly monitor the quality of those plants, and even the bottled water. Even the bottled water, we on quarterly basis we fetch from the this market shelves the samples of bottled water and monitor their quality and publish report in the press. And those bottled water distributors which don't provide don't meet the quality requirements, they are immediately banned. I think these were the. Is there anything else which you might have asked and I might have skipped?
Thank you very much. I need to get more elaboration from you. For example, I'd like to separate two things. First one is the I can
yes,
take
I
the
would like
case.
to add, yeah, sorry.
The case that you have in August recently, the devastated flood in your country,
Yes.
and many displacement of people in Sindh province. Okay, that is the one case that you can be used as a lesson learned, and how your institutional arrangement can do better if it happened again next year. Okay, that is one thing. The second one is on the water quality that I mentioned. I have a reference saying that about 39% of your drinking water are safe, and another 61% are unsafe. So this is something that require certain type of monitoring and doing some kind of quality control. So please separate these two questions, and could you kindly answer in terms of institutional arrangement? How are you going to deal with it?
Regarding the water quality, first of all, let me
no, take the disaster first.
Disaster, okay. For disaster management, we have National Disaster Management Authority, and at the provincial level, we have also Provincial Disaster Management Authority. Their mandate is to address the issues of disaster. But in fact, what happened? This flood in Sindh was unexpected, because Sindh falls in the dry zone, and the rainfall in that dry zone was more than 500% of the normal rainfall. So, but the topography of the Sindh is very flat, and whenever any infrastructure is developed, that aspect naturally is taken least into account, because no much rainfall over there. So therefore, there is no natural drainage system over there, but National Disaster Management Authority are still there. But what we have learned from this, the recent flood, that has provided us, a natural data where the, water accumulates and what are the barriers for the drainage of that water. That data will be used for development of the drainage network there. So already constructed, roads and drainage network will be remodeled to address this problem, because this happened almost first time in the recent history. So that is my for example, if the rainfall created some breach somewhere, we are suggesting that breach may not be refilled, rather converted into a culvert, so that water could be drained easily. The problem over there is drainage. We have how to due to flat topography and to the infrastructure barriers. Institutional arrangements are there. Provincial Disaster Management Authority and National Disaster Management Authority are working on that matter. But as I mentioned, this is the unprecedented event which we are facing, and we are, because the water standing over there is beyond the capacity of to be pumped manually. It is to be drained through some natural drainage system, which natural drainage system is not over there. But in the light of this, the available data, we would like to try to address. Regarding the second, quality issue, as I mentioned,
not yet. May I clarify a little bit? You
Okay.
mentioned that, but you did not mention about how to solve it next time. I suggest that one thing that you need to do is to create the vulnerability assessment and the risk mapping of the scene area, in order that you know which area are affected most and less, and then how are you going to deal with people for preparedness and respond for the next time. And I think that your government have to invest on this kind of mitigation measures. No.
Yes.
So this is something that your central government and provincial government have to invest on awareness, preparedness, and response, and to get people understand the situation. Because to use some kind of hard structure, it may be not difficult. It may be very difficult at the moment. How are you going to build up the drainage system? That is something hard structure. Now the soft structure, people need to understand clearly what happened and where is the most affected area. So the risk mapping is needed, and the government have to gear towards this kind of thing. I believe. So this is my suggestion. Okay. Now I stop. You may not need to answer. Now you go to quality.
No, let me answer it slightly answer that. As I mentioned, this flood has provided us naturally a map of flood-prone areas. Even the satellite maps, they are now providing us the data, and I said that we will use this data for planning. And the vulnerable people already have been identified, because the flood is still there, and how much flood was there, that data has automatically been recorded. So, so you are next was about. So is it okay? And of course, we are investing on that to address this issue, because the natural data has already become available.
Yeah, but the most important is to get people on the ground to know by themselves on how are they going to respond to the flood for the next event. Yeah, that is the most important.
Yes.
That is the most important. Yeah.
Yes. I agree.
So I just agree. Okay. I clearly understand the situation now, because other people may want to ask also. You can proceed for the quality now. Yes.
Yes, I can proceed for the quality. Let me share that we have a mega project for safe drinking water that we run for almost 10 years. Under that project, we have carried out qualitative, technical, and financial survey of all the water supply schemes in the country. And that is a huge data set which is available with us, and with that data set, we can have appropriate intervention. I myself run the project, and why I installed 1,000. The major issue, the major contaminant in drinking water is biological contamination, because others are 10 to 15%. Biological contamination is 60 to 65%. So if we address the biological contamination, That means we have addressed 60 to 65% of the entire issue of drinking water pollution. We have installed on several thousand water supply schemes the chlorination disinfection system in the country. And myself, I was the project director of that project. Not only installed the chlorination system, that is a cheap source of disinfection, but we also imparted training to all, almost 50% of the professionals and technicians of the water supply schemes for operation and maintenance for addressing the issue of water quality, and that especially for the disinfection system. And we are regularly, as I mentioned before, we are regularly carrying out the quality determination of the our filtration plants and the drinking water supplies. Yeah.
Dr. Malik, you mentioned that your rural population is 64%.
Yes, yes.
My question, so that focus on the rural people, how do they get the drinking water? Is it from the tube well or from the groundwater?
Yeah,
Yeah, because I know that I read articles on your country. I know that they are contaminated, not only the biological but also toxic substance, pesticide, arsenic, and other things. So how you manage that?
Yes, sure. I agree with you. You rightly read that. In fact, biological contamination is more widespread in the urban area than in the rural area. And as you mentioned, that the major contaminant is biological contamination, and this biological contamination is comparatively less in the rural. But still, then, we have disinfection systems on the rural water supply schemes as well. For instance, as I mentioned regarding the Thar Desert, in Thar Desert is only there is one small city and all is the rural population, where we have for those rural communities we have 700 reverse osmosis systems. And that is those are meant for the rural community, and even in the other in upper Indus, the population is comparatively thick. Population density is comparatively thick, and we have not though in all the union councils, but we have in several union councils installed water filtering plant where the people fetch the infiltrated water, this disinfected water, and we are imparting training to the local government professionals as well for domestic level disinfection system. For instance, we have developed a household disinfection filter that address the issue of biological contamination, arsenic contamination, and turbidity. And that filter is available only in almost $200. And that can meet the requirement of a family of 7 to 8 people.
Yeah, I'd like to intervene here because I mentioned about toxic substance, pesticide, not infection by biological contamination. So
sure.
I want to hear from you on the toxic and chemical detoxification. How are you going to do that?
Yeah,
at the moment, do you have any organization doing it?
Yeah, we at PCRWR, we are the major organization who is doing. And as I mentioned that these toxic, that the percentage of toxicity in the drinking water is not more than 10%, not more than 10%. But biological contamination that immediately affect. I know that you mean in Bangladesh there is an arsenic problem. I know that there is an arsenic problem in Bangladesh, but here in Pakistan, the arsenic problem is there, but not that much severe. and arsenic, implications, health implications of arsenic are not immediate. But if the water is biological contaminated, its health implications are immediate. So, it is in the 60% of water, whereas arsenic and other contaminants, these chemical contaminants, that are only 10 to 15% of water. So our first, priority is to address the major contaminant, that is biological contamination. And under the Sustainable Development Goals, we have the target of providing safe water to 50%, increasing from 50% to 100, and we will simply address the biological contamination. We will be close to our target. And I agree with you that the chemical contaminants are also important, but our top priority is the biological contamination, and the filter which I have mentioned as at a household level, that removes arsenic as well. But I have the picture of that filter, but incidentally I did not include it. Mostly focus was on the irrigation water, but on the drinking water, we are taking it equally at par with other water issues. Yes.
Anyone would like to ask Dr. Malik questions, please? You still have a few minutes, please. I'm sorry, I take most of your time.
You are welcome. You are all welcome. I learned, a lot from your questions. That we will try to incorporate our, strategic planning. Whatever we like to have.
I have a basic question. If there's time, can you go to the slide where it shows supply and demand, please?
Yeah.
The slide that shows supply and demand. Dr. Malik?
Yes.
Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you go to the slide that shows
I'm going to that.
supply and demand?
I am going to that slide.
Yeah, it's very at the beginning, I guess.
Yes, very in the beginning.
I have a very basic question.
Yes. Yes, here is supply and demand.
Yeah, supply. Yeah, at the beginning, the supply and demand to curve.
Yes. There are three curves.
Can you go there? Yeah, yes.
Yes.
If you, so here it shows like up to a certain point, your supply is increasing and demand is falling, right?
Supply is increasing.
Yeah. So how is it possible that you have more water available?
No.
But
supply is increasing. I will explain how the supply is increasing. And this is the per capita availability. This is per capita availability, this line. And
is it supply?
No, this is per capita availability that is decreasing, this one. Reddish, dark reddish. And this reddish is the population. And this green line, this is water availability, surface water availability. At the time of partition, there was an era of 10 years. There was a lot of uncertainty when we had a settlement with India for interim supply arrangements. Over that period, we got a grace period of 50 to 61 for development of our own infrastructure for surface water storage and diversion of that water towards the eastern canals, because the eastern rivers, eastern tributaries of Indus came under the share of India. So that up to there, but this rise was due to our two major reservoirs that we constructed over the period of 65 to 75, Tarbela Dam and Mangla Dam, and then so after construction of here it is after Tarbela Dam. There is, we are at the, just 1 minute, please. Here we are at the peak after the, but by that time, the rivers which came under the share of India, spilled water was coming from those rivers. So, but by that time, India stopped that water because it was their share. They had the right to do that, and that gradually gradually decreased. So about 7-8 million.
That I'm asking you, like in way forward, declare water as economic good for all users, right?
Excuse me?
In way forward, the first one you said, declare water as economic good for all users.
Yes, yes. We are planning to declare water as economic good through some sort of, but that is a proposal we have submitted because
yeah, that's not. But when you say supply and demand means you are treating that as a good, right, or service.
Yes.
You are already treating, because supply is a combination of prices and how much you are bringing at that price. So different combination of price and availability is the supply curve, as I understand basic economics. And demand is also like the available. Yeah. So is there any gap here, the way you are projecting here?
If I have comprehended properly, understand your problem, your question. In fact, at the moment, our surface water is going almost free of cost to the farmers. Almost free, because we have very, very nominal and charges for the surface water. Very, very nominal. And
still there is a price. Still there is a price.
But that is very, very nominal. And regarding the groundwater, there are no charges, because anyone have the right on his land to install a tube well of any capacity, and that is causing groundwater mining. To address that issue, we intend to have an system of licensing for installation of tube wells, and we are going to enhance the surface water charges and to bring it at par with the cost of pumping groundwater. In that way, we can compel the consumer.
I got your point. The question is, like you are saying, the prices are very low, almost zero, right? There is no
surface water, and groundwater is the fuel cost
for consuming, for demand side. But for the supply side, like those who are private stakeholders, private parties, households, farms, if they want to hold water, like they want to bring their own supply, what is the price there?
No, for tube wells, for the tube wells. But at the moment, as I mentioned, if I rightly captured your point, at the moment there is no ban on the drilling a tube well. There is no licensing requirement. But the new legislation has proposed, and policies have proposed, that there must be a licensing system for pumping groundwater. Otherwise, we can, because no doubt cost of pumping groundwater is more than the supplies of surface water, but the major that is another disaster we are likely to face. The groundwater mining. The groundwater mining is going at alarming rate. And if we impose the license, even then we can control the groundwater mining.
I mean, you have a comprehensive view of water management in Pakistan with all the aspects. As I feel like you have focused on effective and efficient management of available water at the consumption side.
Now, on the consumption side, not on the consumption side. I have addressed that. I have given you my point of view regarding the first of all issue of our storage is not sufficient. Our conveyance efficiency is not adequate. Our field application efficiency is not adequate. Our water productivity at the field level is not adequate. And we are all our interventions, all our research and the subsidies and all these things, they are supposed to address the issues right from storage to conveyance to field level and to enhance the productivity for our sustainable agriculture.
As I understand from the way forward first one, declare water as economic good. If you are saying if there are aligned price, like higher prices, then it will solve the problem partially.
Now, solve the problem. Now, I mean to it will promote the water conservation.
Conservation.
It will promote water conservation. That is our intention.
I see. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Is there any more question? Because we now exceed the time, but we can maybe one last question if you have. Anyone from our participant? I just want to suggest that if Dr. Malik can be the coordinator to organize a workshop in Pakistan, focusing on water management, that would be great. And we could, CIRDAP can also participate in this workshop. And this can be a hybrid workshop or something like that, so that we can attend online and we can discuss with your team of experts to discuss overall planning of your country and to look into the matter which is very important for your country, both in terms of quantity and quality of water, and how should be the strategic priority to manage the water management in your country. That would be great. So now I think that there will be nobody ask any more question. I'd like to thank you very much, and I'd like to turn back to Huren, Ms. Huren Janet, the manager of the webinar, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Manzoor Ahmed Malik, sir, for your elaborate and wonderful presentation. We learned a lot from you. Thank you all for attending this webinar. Now I formally ending this webinar. We will see you the next one. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to all the participants. And thank you very much to Dr. Virapat and Dr. Hilal for having a very nice discussion. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Thank you.
Have a nice day. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.